sometimes we say on the freedom side, right? If I'm more naturally pulling the relationship towards freedom, wanting more freedom, feeling avoidant about the lack of it, or feeling caged in these things, I think it's good to be compassionate for how scary that can be to your partner. If I want to go experiment and be a totally different person, or go, on a 3-month tour, of Europe, and I'm gonna have no cell phone and completely out of contact. I think it's okay to be afraid about that if you're the partner. I think it's really great to be compassionate about, just the fear, and rather than treating the fact that might frighten your partner as some kind of lack of love for you. You could investigate, like, well, what is it that's most scary about that? What are you afraid of, and what bad thing can happen, and what are the kinds of things that might make you feel safe and secure? Is there any condition where you would feel so safe and so secure that wouldn't be scary? And you start to ask those kinds of questions, and not only will that strengthen the relationship and be more of an investment in the devotion, but you might learn that there's aspects of your plan or your idea of yourself that are based in your own shadow, and they actually have some wisdom for you. It's not just caging you because they want you to be less free, but they're maybe seeing something you're not seeing that could be not healthy for you or for the relationship. And if you really investigate it, you could discover that. And when you incorporate that, it's like, oh, well, now that I've learned that piece, maybe I want to do it this other way instead. And then your partner relaxed. And now you've discovered not an idea of who you thought you were, but who you really want to emerge as. I feel more free today than I really ever have. Not because I'm more like the concept that I used to have of what freedom looked like for me, but because I've discovered more and more of the things I thought that I needed in order to feel happy aren't really true. And that who I really am is, it's just different than I thought. It's a lot less edgy and extreme and it's a lot more happy and loving and relaxed, like it's just with a complete faith in the future. And that's what I've gotten out of freedom is just, I think we talked about one possible definition of freedom is that you're totally right with who you are and what your desires are. You have no parts of you judge yourself for who you are or what your desires might be. That's like a true freedom. That devotion is so supportive of that, because when you're devoted to a partner and you love them no matter what, and they love you no matter what, it's so supportive of you getting right with who you are and relaxing your own judgments, which might be the real reason you don't feel free. It might be your own judgments that you're projecting on your partner and pretending they're theirs, but that's the advance.
Well, I love what you're saying, because what I'm hearing in it is, freedom is not just doing what you want. It's being right with what you want. Fully right with it. So when we're in some of the shadow of this pattern, when we're in some of the avoidance, which can also sometimes look like self-absorption or selfishness or entitlement, like I should get what I want and that's what matters. And, you're fighting for the I in the relationship while the devotional partner is fighting for the we. But what I'm hearing and what you're saying that I like is that you get right with your desires, and therefore, whether your partner is responding in a positive way or a negative way to your desires is sort of a mirror for you around how kind of healthy those desires are to begin with. Because sometimes what we want is coming from a place where we're not actually aligned, right? We're coming from a place that's not actually, is coming from the fear, like where it's a compensation for something, or we're afraid of a lack of something that's not true, or an imaginary fear that's, and so our desires are sort of funded by something that's actually fundamentally not all the way real and not all the way true. And often our partners will respond as we outsource to them our lack of congruence around our desire. And we'll see in our partner that lack of congruence because they're feeling that lack of congruence and then responding to it in real time. Like, hey, you want to do what? Like, that doesn't feel good. And so often I think as a barometer for how pure your desires are, if you're on the freedom side, is even watching whether your partner is like, hell yeah, all the way on board or not. And that if they aren't, sometimes it might be because they're in their anxious pattern. And it has nothing to do with you. But it's good to double check if you're on the freedom side. Oh, am I outsourcing my lack of alignment around what I say I want? Is it coming from the purest place in me? Is my partner just mirroring to me what I'm not seeing in myself with my own lack of congruence? So this is like another little hack to me in relationships.